Should you invest in this AI revolution? In this video, I'll take you through two common different beliefs that people have regarding AI. I'll then go through a few specific examples of how you can utilize this opportunity and incorporate AI into your creative agency, and then reach a conclusion as to whether you should invest into AI software and services and why. So, red pill, blue pill, this is a common sort of differences in beliefs that people have regarding AI. It's a metaphor for choosing between two different options. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, that's where the concept comes from. And we can apply the exact same concept to views people have on AI. So the blue pill is AI is just a trend, it won't replace human sales tasks, whereas the red pill is AI is the future of sales and those who adapt will dominate. Most people are shifting towards the red pill, although there is still a lot of skepticism around AI in many areas. Lack of authenticity, it, yeah, lots of concerns. So yeah, from the blue pill, um, people often say, AI won't replace human sales skills. For example, AI chatbots sound robotic and they can't close deals. AI, it's just another tech hype. There's more complex sales tasks as well. Will never be able to be replaced. Whereas the red pill would be saying, "Oh, AI can qualify leads 24/7 faster than humans. It's already boosting sales for creative agencies. It removes guesswork. It helps manipulate data, handle repetitive tasks. It's here to stay and it's here for the future." So if you do end up choosing the red pill, then here are sort of 12 tips I wish I knew once I started creating AI-powered automations. So one route that you can go down when you want to incorporate AI into your agency is to create these AI-powered automations specifically for sales. You can create them for onboarding, for social media content production, for cold outreach or other back-end systems. But this specifically will go into AI automations for sales. Um, you know, of these 12 tips, one of the biggest ones is the differentiation between an AI agent and an automation. So an automation make doesn't have a decision making process. AI agents have their own decision making process. They incorporate different large language models and chatbots, which sort of learn from their environment and make decisions themselves. Another tip is to send myself Slack notifications after every form response. So if a lead has purchased a new digital product, or they've inquired via my website or the agency's website, or they've just booked a call, if you send yourself a Slack notification about that lead, um, it can be quite a boost. But then also it enables you to go in and call that lead up to increase conversion rates. One of the last ones is drafting up an initial system in a software like Miro, which is where this sort of, presentation is on. It just allows you to be completely clear on every single stage that a lead goes through. For example, all the different scenarios, all the different routes. So yeah, the choice is yours. Keep embracing. You can embrace the change or keep doing sort of the old tasks and the old methods for your sales system. But if you do choose to sort of embrace this new AI revolution, one of the main ways to implement AI into your agency is through these AI-powered sort of sales automations. So now I'll break down a few automated sales systems that I've built with sheetsmate.com, ClickUp, ChatGPT, and Calendly, and more. So if I go to scenarios here, make, what you can see is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top scenarios, and this is lead capture, and then lead management from three different sources. So this is from leads purchasing digital products, from leads inquiring via the website, and from leads booking call. And each of these is slightly different. But what we're doing is automating tasks that you would carry out to these leads. For example, capturing them, qualifying them, notifying yourself about them, adding or updating them in the CRM, and other little tasks. So here we'll just look at the call booking intake scenarios because they're the most interesting, the most in depth, and it starts with this one, which is where we're essentially just going to add or update the lead in the database. So if you replace this module of Google Forms with Calendly or Cal.com or whatever other method you're using to book calls and then therefore capture leads from, you put that in there. And then what this system does is it will search January rows. If the email address exists, that the email address of that lead that has just booked a call, if that email just exists, then you'll update the row in January and then add a row in the newest month, which is March, and then delete that lead from January. And you do that so that then you're very clear of the amount of leads that have sort of been captured every single month. At the end of each month, you can see exactly how many leads have been captured and for what. It just keeps it organized as well. But if the email doesn't exist, then you go through the exact same process for February. You can also change this, and instead of having monthly Google Sheets, you have quarterly Google Sheets. And the reason why you have this method instead of just searching for one Google Sheets is because it gets very messy. It gets a lot harder to spot trends and growth. Especially when you start getting hundreds, if not thousands, of leads in a single Google Sheet. Over time, it gets very messy. But then the last step would be to search March. Then you either update in March or you add a new row in March, depending on if the email exists or not. And so, yeah, that is the first part of the system, relatively straightforward. And then next, the second part of call booking intake is where we incorporate lead qualification first. So what you do is you create custom qualification logic to either qualify or disqualify a lead based off of the response they've given when they've filled out that form, which is on the landing page where they booked a call. So if you go into Calendly, after you book a call, there are a couple questions which you can ask leads, and they could be what's your budget, what's your business type, and use that response to qualify leads. If the lead has been rejected, then they go down this route, and if they're qualified, they go up this route. If they are rejected, then what you do is you just list events in Calendly just to check that they do have an active call. Then you add that lead to the rejected leads column, and you delete them from the normal leads column in the Google Sheets database. Bear in mind, this lead won't need to be added into ClickUp. And then in Slack, you're going to create yourself a message. And so with Slack, you then send yourself a message which is telling you to go in and delete this leads call. That's the free version to do it. If you have the paid version of Calendly, then you can use sort of API access and do that automatically as well. However, if the lead is qualified, then they go down two different routes depending on if they're a new lead or an updated lead. The only difference between the two would be that updated leads get their ClickUp task updated or edited, whereas new leads would, you create a new task for them. What you do is you send yourself a message on Slack with this new lead and all the details to enable you to call them up. You create a task on ClickUp, and then the last step here is a system where you create a new Google document for that lead. You then get the share link of that Google document and you paste it into the description of that lead in the CRM in ClickUp. And what you can do next is you can get ChatGPT to create a brief summary of that lead. So if you don't have the paid version of Calendly, what you do is you'd send yourself a Slack message to manually go into ChatGPT and paste in a prompt to get some context of that lead. Or if you do have the paid version of ChatGPT, you can then use sort of API access to have it automatically get a response to a prompt, which is, I'm having a call with a lead. I'd like to get, in 100 words or so, some brief overview and context of this lead. Could you please search this website? And then you paste in that client-specific website and write a brief report from it. Identify some problems with their branding that I can solve with my branding agency as well, for example. And then you can take that response that ChatGPT gives you and you put it into that Google document. And then anytime you're having a call with the lead, you can just go into ClickUp, look at the description, and then you have a brief overview of some context of this client, this lead. Sorry. So what this would look like is, if you go into ClickUp here, obviously it would be different. The description would be here in the core booking intake, not in the digital product intake. But here is where the description is, and then you just have this custom link which you press onto the Google document. So yeah, that is sort of a brief overview of the two different views people have on AI and the AI revolution. To conclude, if you do have the right strategies and the right tools and you're integrating and using different software in the right way with the right strategy, definitely is worth investing in. The amount of time you save, the increase in conversions, a lot of the time the cost effectiveness of using these software as they become more and more accessible to everyone, and then the fact that they enable you to scale your business so much easier is definitely is worth it, in my opinion. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you found it useful.